Welcome back, everybody, to Pick and Roll for Friday night NBA free picks here on Friday morning, which is where we give them out every weekday morning right here on the Board YouTube channel, part of the Hammer Betting Network. Get us started today by hitting that like button and subscribing to the channel to support the content that we have. Look at Pips grinding with the cast on his right hand. Also, with the blue background, you can tell he's at his parents' house today, dealing with a family matter. He's at a family event, so it's going to be a quicker show today. Let him get back to his family festivities, but he's still out here with the injuries, still out here despite the family festivities, giving out some NBA free picks today. That absolutely deserves your likes for today. Because Pip's a little bit busy, there is going to be no big SGP today, unfortunately. So apologies to everybody for that one, but we should be back on Monday with one of those coming out for you guys. All right. That is it for the intro. Let's get into the two picks that we have on the show for today, and we're going to get a quick handicap from Pips after the fact. So, for starters, in the first bet, we're going to the Nuggets and Kings matchup to take Nikola Jokic on an SGP. We're going to take Jokic 25 plus points, over 6.5 assists, and 10 plus rebounds. That is plus 100 at BetMGM. Let's go to the second play here. And in the Hawks and 76ers game, we're going to be taking Onyeka Okongwu over 12.5 points, which is minus 115 at DraftKings. All right, nice and quick for these two. Pips, let's go back to this first play here and hear your handicap into why we're taking Jokic on the SGP.
Yeah, I'm taking everything on Jokic in this one because they already played this season, and the Jokic numbers in that game were pretty amazing. Even the last game of the last season, he scored 40. Earlier this season, he had 36 points, 13 rebounds, and 14 assists. So it was one of the best all-around games for Jokic, combined for like 63 points, rebounds, and assists in that game. So I'm going with this one. Also, on back-to-back, I can see Jokic needing to be the guy tonight for them. So yeah, I just think Jokic on points. 36 in the last game, huge usage. They didn't double him a lot. So against Sabonis, he should just smash this spot on points. King's defense is not great, so he in the last game had 14 assists. So I think he can get half here without much problem. And the rebounds is like smash spot for Jokic every time. So I'm going this combination of all of this together for a nice plus 100 at BetMGM.
All right, there we go. Even money on that one. If you have access to ESPN Bet, I would bet it there instead for the better price, but the widely available option, plus 100. Nicely done. Let's go to the second play here. The straight player prop for this one, Onyeka Okongwu on his over on points. What do you like about the matchup here against the Joel Embiid-less Philadelphia 76ers?
We have one sample size of Hawks playing against the 76ers without Embiid, and Okongwu starting in that game. And as we can see in the middle of the graph, in that game, Okongwu had 19 points. So this graph shows when he is playing 27 or more minutes this season, he is over in 10 of 13 with almost 15 points average. Now, without Capella, we can see the line on the graph going very high.
Sorry, Pips.
Sorry.
Just there was a little bit of a connection issue there. You were
My
mentioning
phone.
still connection issues, but I believe this graph. Are you?
Yeah,
It's in reference. Is this
sorry.
Okay, go ahead.
This is in reference with minutes. So last 3 games without Capella, he played 35 minutes
Okay.
or more. So he had great minutes, and this is showing his minutes with 27 or more. Now he's starting matched up minutes mostly with Trae Young, who is feeding him. I expect Nick Nurse to be very aggressive defending Trae Young, so that should open up like the last time. That should open up good spots for Okongwu at the rim, and without Joel Embiid, there is not much rim protection out there.
So what Pips was referencing here, the last 3 games here on the graph where he has 22, 18, and 19 points against the Warriors, Clippers, and
And
Celtics, respectively,
if we
were
take a
without
look,
Capella.
and if we take a look at the last 4 games, it's against the Suns, against the Golden State, against the Clippers in Boston. all are better on defense and defending the rim and defending inside than tonight 76ers without Embiid.
Without a beat. All right, so there you have it. Those are the two plays for today. Pips, if you want to just step out and head back to the party, feel free to do so. I'll go through the recap and then recap a little bit of trade deadline yesterday. But thank you to Pips for coming through today. We hope he has a great weekend, and we hope we're celebrating some wins on Monday.
See you guys. Thank you.
Enjoy. All right, guys, those were the picks for today. Let's go to the recap of the previous day's plays here. And this one, I feel like we're always complaining on this show no matter what. Even with a winning day on the show, I feel like there are reasons to complain here because it was a winning day. It was a 2-1 day on the show. Puts us up a unit on the season here. But it feels like it could have been more here. So the winner was on Michael Porter Jr., who absolutely crushes his over 13.5-point line on points with 27 against the Lakers. Claxton goes well under his PRA of 27.5 as he gets only the 14. But the one that I was most confident about starting the day was Jonathan Kuminga over 25.5 points plus rebounds. Yeah, a lot of the handicap was about Jonathan Kuminga's usage lately, and that usage grew even further because Klay Thompson, who was not even questionable in the morning, did not play. So immediately more minutes went to Kuminga, but alas, he finishes 6 points plus rebounds away from the line that we needed. But not going to complain too much. It is a 2-1 winning day. That is what we are looking for on the show after all. So we can move on. As you see, show tracking record since we started last season, 224 to 200 record, plus 8.9 units, 1.9% ROI, 1.8% CLV. So we're hoping we can kind of regain the form we saw in the latter stages of the previous season before the playoffs as we get through the rest of the season here. That January segment for the show was a little bit tough, but starting to get things back on track here. And hopefully the two picks today can further accelerate the progress that the show has been making here. All right, finish off here. Before we get into the recap of the two picks we have for today, appreciate the people in chat here. Badger Boy, Matt, always watching the show. Appreciate that. We also have the Mito here, hammering the two picks that we have in the show today. Appreciate everybody tuning in. Appreciate everybody tuning in yesterday. I was on a watch along for the NBA trade deadline, 2 to about 3:30 yesterday, where we recapped all of the events here. Kind of wanted some thoughts from the chat here, if possible, on who you guys felt as though was the big winner on NBA trade deadline day. We talked about it on that live stream yesterday, but I kind of wanted to talk about the New York Knicks briefly here. The business that was made by the New York Knicks was excellent yesterday. I can't believe, like, considering where this franchise was in I think it was the summer of 2019, the Zion draft, where Knicks were praying they would get the first overall pick. They would land Zion Williamson. Then the dream was they would also land Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving in free agency. Well, they slipped in the lottery to 3rd overall, where they drafted RJ Barrett, which, even though he's a Raptor, let's be honest, that wasn't the 3rd overall pick they thought they were going to be getting. And they didn't land either of Kevin Durant or Kyrie Irving. They did land Julius Randle in that free agency season. And ever since then, full credit to the Knicks front office for the way they've built up this team because they are stacked. And I agree with Badger Boy here. Big winner with the trade for Bojan Bogdanovic and Alec Burks. Alec Burks goes a little bit under the radar. If you guys have watched the show and watched me and Pips for a while, you know that me and Pips actually both are quite a big fan of Alec Burks. So we think that that's a great pickup along with Bogdanovic. And they gave up Quentin Grimes, who wasn't getting a ton of playtime anyway, who was unsettled and kind of wanted out for that one. They gave up Evan Fournier. They're off that contract finally. It's expiring, but they're off the contract. And they gave away 2 second-round picks for that deal. This is a really great move for the New York Knicks for this season. And what I wanted to mention, and I also mentioned yesterday, the Knicks have saved their first-round picks. They have continued to save their first-round picks after making this trade, which I think is the most remarkable aspect associated with the trade. And I think the overlooked portion is that they've been trying to trade for a star with these picks for a couple of years now. But a sticking point has always been that Evan Fournier contract. Well, it's going to be a whole lot easier to package a contract for that star player with those picks they have if you're setting out Bogdanovic as the contract rather than Evan Fournier. So they have done some remarkable business. Obviously, the OG trade right before the turn of the year. I thought this was a home run trade for them yesterday and an opportunity to make a big splash in the summer. This team is young, getting better. This is a really, really well-built team, well-oiled machine, and Tibbs has that team cooking. Alan in chat says that the Knicks easily the winner. Sadly, that will be the end of the great prop lines for DiVincenzo, Josh Hart, Isaiah Hartenstein. Well, listen, you have an edge, you pound it until you can't pound it anymore. So you took advantage, and you can look back on that fondly. Also, with Hartenstein reminds me here, Mitchell Robinson should be back at the end of the season. At least that is the expectation for the New York Knicks. Sean Glenn says that the PJ Washington going to the Mavs is a nice pickup for them. Like that trade a lot. I actually prefer the Gafford move for them for the depth at center. Pips actually did not really like the PJ Washington acquisition. I personally think that it will work quite well for the Mavericks, adding in some size, at least somewhat of a shooting stroke. A bit inconsistent, but like PJ Washington is playing with the Charlotte Hornets. I'm always interested to see guys who are kind of like on the fringe of getting good, on the fringe of improving their game when they step up to a better team where they have more space to play rather than on Charlotte where things can be a little bit more difficult. Not really any better floor spacers in the entire league than Luka Doncic. The amount of gravity he attracts, the amount of attention that he attracts. So I'm interested to see how that one goes as well. I mean, I just love these are the sort of storylines that I like to follow with the NBA. I just like to see the career arcs for every player, like even like the lowest of players. I like following guys drafted in the second round. What sort of career arc can they give themselves? The improvement from year to year. What are they working on? These are so interesting to me. So trades like this on trade deadline day. Can PJ Washington find a new level playing with the Dallas Mavericks? I think that's going to be extremely interesting. But that'll do it for the show today, guys. Thanks for sticking around without Pips here. Pips has a family party today, so he stepped out briefly to do the show. So big credit to him. Make sure you do hit the like button if you're tailing the picks. I mean, Pips showing out like that. That deserves a like. Subscribe to the channel as well so that you're up to date with all of the content that we have coming to you guys. Also, a little bit of a self-plug here. If you have the Bleacher Report app, you can follow my handle here. I'm going to be live on the Bleacher Report app in 2.5 hours time, 12:30 p.m. Eastern time, to recap the Toronto Raptors trade deadline. So if you have the Bleacher Report app, a lot of you may do, you can catch me live there in 2.5 hours. All right, let's do the recap of the picks that we have for today. First of all, we are in the Nuggets and Kings game to take Nikola Jokic, 25+ points, over 6.5 assists, and 10+ rebounds on the SGP. We got at +100 at BetMGM. I think I saw that. I put it in pre-show. It was -121 at ESPN Bet. I put it in as the show was going live. It was +121. So I think there was just a bit of an error on the negative and the plus sign. But I saw it at +120, 121 on ESPN Bet. So if you have access to that sports book, please go and do that. Not everybody does. So to be fair, we track it at +100 for BetMGM. On the second play, we're taking Onyeka Okongwu over 12.5 points for -115 odds at DraftKings as the Hawks take on the 76ers with no Joel Embiid in confirmation there. +120 at ESPN Bet if you have access in your region. If you're in Canada and you have access to the Score Bet, it's the same odds on the Score Bet as it is on ESPN Bet as I am located there. All right, guys, thanks so much for a great week supporting the show. We really appreciate it. Pips has been grinding to get these picks out and to do the show despite the hand injury. So we're working really hard behind the scenes, whether it's him, whether it's me. So the support means a whole bunch to us. Let's hope to have a great night here and send us into the weekend a little bit happier and with a little bit of extra profit in our pockets. All right, guys, we'll be back on Monday for more pick and roll, and we very much hope to see you there.